Alrighty, beep, let's do this. First thing first, the name is the LUI, obviously. Secondly, the game is a game of bodybuilding. Thirdly, the subject. Top 5 best double biceps from the back. Top 5 best back double biceps. When I'm saying this, I'm not talking about the back itself. I made videos about this. It's quite clear. There are tons of articles and forum debates, and usually the usual suspects, so to speak, are always the same. We all know who have the best backs in this business throughout the different ages and eras and epochs of bodybuilding. Usual suspects, Samir Banoud, that lion from Lebanon, he was absolutely proper. One of the best backs there. Definitely Christmas Tree, first one, 1983. He was just marvelous. Ronnie Coleman, of course, duh. What was this guy? Johnny Jackson, the dude who trains with Branch Warren. Incidentally, he has the craziest back, whereas Branch Warren has one of the weakest back. Whereas, though Branch has crazy legs, and this guy, his wheels suck. Go figure that out. Genetics, right? This is Jean-Pierre Fuchs, that giant from Switzerland of the 90s, baby please. He was just proper. This guy is Joel Stubbs. He was like a freaking Boeing 747 back then. Look at that. Just proper. Of course, usual suspect. He always comes in the top 5 of best backs in the histories, baby please. Haha, the shadow of them all. Yates? Duh. Seriously, of course. Ronnie Coleman, next to Dorian Yates, it's always there. Top 5. Kai Green is not bad. Phil Heath, current Miss Olympia. That's obvious. Aaron Becker. Aaron Becker is pretty much the Kai Green of the 90s, baby, please. Pretty much, right? Again, we spoke about this guy, Johnny Jackson. Now, he looks marvelous, doesn't it? I mean, we spoke about him. But does he belong into the top 5 best back double biceps? Right, back double biceps. He doesn't. Although the back is marvelous, one of the craziest and freakiest ever, the back double biceps is rather a complete pose, isn't it? And you can see glutes are not loyal, and the hammies, baby please, nobody's home. The calves, so to speak, are too high. So it's a complete pose. It's not about just the muscle group of the back, right? He is not in the list. He cannot be in the list whatsoever. For him, actually, we move out and proceed. Haha, should we? Top 5, actually. Number 5 position, he is in this picture. Who are we talking about? Are we talking about Ronnie Coleman, a usual suspect, as we mentioned? No, I'm rather talking about the guy next to him. That was Sean Ray. You can see his Christmas trees, baby please, next to Dorian Yates. And this time around next to Flex Wheeler, both absolutely out-angling the mass with class Lee Lebrade in the center there. We're talking about a back double bicep. It is rather a complete pose. Sorry for the quality of this 90s image. 1993 to be more precise. One of the best years of Mr. Flex Wheeler. He placed second in this Miss Olympia next to Dorian Yates, of course. Now look at the completeness of Mr. Sean Ray. 5'7", usually 220, 225 his contest weight back then. The back is just proper, not overdone, not the biggest, not the most massive, but conditioned. Every muscle is there. Every metric is there. These arms are good. Shoulders are proper. Traps are well developed and not the biggest, but they're there. Christmas tree, as we mentioned, they go low. He had arguably one of the most conditioned glutes, hammies combo back then. And again, there are some decent calves development. So every metric is checked. This guy was absolutely complete. That's why he was beating some guys way bigger than him, namely Vince Taylor, namely also Kevin the Cat Lavroni, and so on and so forth. Porter Cottrell right here, right? Next to Dorian Yates, the best guy back then. You can see the completeness of the back of Sean Ray. You cannot see weakness. If you see a weakness, be my guest. Go ahead, take your pre-workout, take a coffee, and come back. This guy is complete by all metrics. He was conditioned from head to toe. His friend back then, Mr. Cormier, he used to say that this guy is always ready. You cannot count him out. Every competition where Sean Ray was stepping foot in, he was always conditioned. So there was no exception. He was always on, and from the back he was rather complete. That's why he deserves a proper number 5 position in the top 5 best back double biceps. Here he is out angling the late Sonny Schmidt. Sonny Schmidt was old back then. This guy is Mr. Olympia of the Masters. The guy right there is Akim Albert from Germany. He was good, he was big, about 80 pounds on stage, but his arms were not loyal. Dorian Yates here, and we can see, this is flex, I think. Is it flex? Or, I think it's flex. Just flexing right there. In this position right here, this pose, I have Sean Ray completely smoking Kevin Levrone in the back double biceps. No contest, he smokes him. It was never a strength of Kevin, if you ask me. Out condition, the lats go lower, just more complete. That of Kevin looks shallow at best, to be honest, right? Even when he was young, when he had hair, it was just proper. It was this was probably in the Lee Haney era. It was already proper. This was, yeah, definitely Lee Haney era. Might be 1990 for all I know, or even 89. He was just proper. This guy was good, completely destroying a guy that is 60 pounds heavier than him, in that of Jurassic Paul Dillette. In the center is Porter Cottrell. He used to train with Kevin Levrone. He was the training partner of Kevin the Cat Levrone. Again, now, why is he better than Flex Wheeler? Flex Wheeler is a marvelous back, but I don't even put him in this top 5. Those are marvelous, memorable pictures from '93, right? One of his best shape. He won the Arnold Classic and also the Ironman, if I'm not mistaken. Look, just proper. On top, this guy is just textbook, the Sultan of Symmetry. Yates used to call him the caricature. He was really like inhumane in a sense. That sweep of the triceps just out there, right? Thing is, his weakness is the lower side. Never been conditioned. Never been conditioned in the hamstrings combination with the glutes. It was his weakness. This was in '97, where he won, incidentally, the Arnold Classic, his second one, right? He was the second version. Look at the lower section, downstairs area, condition not even once. No salute upon that. I'd rather give the 4th position, number 4, to this Lebanese baby, please, Mr. Samir Banout. The completeness of the things, the genetic superiority of that back. These lads go low, they're thick. He was known to do some crazy deadlifts, and look at those crazily well developed calves. They're big, and by back then metrics, those hamstrings are good. Every metric is checked. That's why he deserves, in my opinion, number 4 spot in this back double biceps top 5. This Lebanese baby, please, shocked the world literally in 1983, and quite frankly, a lot of people think that he could have won more Miss Olympia, but that was that P word called politics that stopped him for that. Nonetheless, he was just properly saluted, if you ask me. Memorable pictures, and nobody will absolutely forget about him. Just proper for his side, just proper. You Google Samir Banout, you Google Christmas tree, probably will stumble on this picture. Just this one. It just shocked the world. I think it is the first case, this picture, to give the name of Christmas tree. I think it started, correct me if I'm wrong, with this precise picture of Mr. Samir Banout, 1983, Mr. Olympia, of course. He was complete in that case. Of course, we had Lee Haney, who came after him, But Lihaney, the arms are nowhere as developed as Samir. And by today's standards, he would not qualify even as a physique guy when it comes to his arms. They were really, really small. Right? Proceed. Haha, shall we? Now, this guy is one of the best ever. This is the vampire of them all. Dexter Jackson. Why don't I put him personally in this countdown? He has a clear weakness that he cannot fix. Almost, I don't know if it's genetic, whatever, but these calves are too high. He cannot hide them. Aside from that, he's proper. He's perfect. His arms are good. The back is not the biggest, but every metric is checked. Definitely well developed. He's always well conditioned. He's the blade, but the upper body or the upper part, if you go above the knees, baby please, overwhelms the weakness of these calves. So I will not put him in this elite top 5 position. Look at the calf here. It's rather clear. It's definitely not there, and that will ding him in this positioning. Same goes for Kai Green. Different reason. Kai Green is very good. He's very strong in this position. But do you even traps? Not even once. That weakness, he cannot even hide it. And in comparison to case in point, Mr. Phil Heath, it shows rather clearly. Although everything else is well developed. This isn't the 2012 version, of course. He was conditioned, probably one of his best conditioning ever. He was the smallest too. The peak is absolutely testes. Baby please. The sweep of the tricep is loyal. The lats go low, but if you take a look at the traps department, bro, they're natty status at best. Natty status, no salute upon thee. So from him proceed, shall we? Oh, number 3 spot. I have 8-time Mr. Olympia. Blasphemy, blasphemy, daily and even nightly. Is this even true? Everybody's expecting him to be number 1 in the back double biceps one. Not quite, not quite. Although he has some features that are really ungodly, that are biblical. Can you dink these arms? Hell no. The bicep, the peak of Ronnie Coleman, the sweep of his triceps are legendary, to say the least. You cannot dink that. The back is one of the craziest ever. The glutes are the best, period. The best period of the history of bodybuilding. The hamstrings are always conditioned. So what's wrong with Ronnie Coleman? Now clearly his calves were never his strongest point. They're too high. They're not mediocre, but in this elite company, they're not good. They're not up there, right? They're not up to par. That's one thing. One other thing that we need to mention, I need to mention, is the symmetry of that pose. The symmetry of the back, right? It's not loyal. It's definitely not loyal. It shows even off season. I'm talking about this part right here, the left side of it. By the way, that was his injury at the end of his career. It was rather more clear. It doesn't quite show in this pose because he's tilting to the right, so it's kind of hidden. But this lat right here is definitely wider. It goes deeper into the spine rather compared to the left one. And in here, when he got bigger, 2003, when he left humanity, it became rather more clear. And after this year's the injury settled there. Some people speak about nerve damage, whatever, I don't know. But if you guys remember, when he tried to come back, that lat was not even stretching. He could not open it. In the back lat spread, it was more obvious. This symmetry dinged him in this position, and that's why I gave him number 3. This here. There we go. It's rather more clear. It's an elite thing. If you compare him to Dorian Yates, it shows rather clearer. The left side is not loyal. This was probably in 1998. I love this version. Number 2 spot, I'll give it to Dorian Yates. Wow, what a shocker. Now this guy, to the contrary of Coleman, his calves are loyal. They're the best in this company, the best, period. I think in history, you can only compare him to the late Mike Matarazzo in the calves department. Correct me if I'm wrong. We have nowadays Dallas McCarver, but you know, Dorian, his calves are legendary. He was by far the most conditioned guy in his era. This is off season, by the way, actually a prep picture, a few weeks prior to Miss Olympia, so he was not on. When he was on, he was definitely conditioned as crazy. Compared to Coleman, now we can see that discrepancy on the left side when Romy got big. I ding him for that. This was still a prep pose. You see striations and feathers on those glutes. Although at that epoch, if you guys remember, these bodybuilders were not basically wearing those G-string. They were not showing the glutes as they're doing it now, but they were there. In the case of Yates, they were always conditioned. This guy, when he was walking on stage, his feet were hurting because the cushion, the very fatty cushion underneath his feet was melted, right? So this guy had no fat on his body whatsoever. Believe that. So he was conditioned from head to toe. Same goes for the hammies. They were pretty much the craziest in his era. His back is legendary. Probably the lats that go lower ever, the thickest ever. His traps are so thick, they were really ungodly, boulders of shoulders, but the arms are absolutely weak, to say the least. Before the injury of that left biceps, he had never had a good biceps nor tricep sweep. They were just not there. You can see that. Although his forearms are royal, the arms they're weak. For that, he needs to be dinged somehow. He is not complete, to say the least. Aside from that, he was just proper, as we said. Hammies conditioned all the time. The calves were pretty much triggering, to say the least. This was 1997, right? I think the last year of competition of Dorian Yates. He was about to give the torch to the guy next to him in Ronnie Coleman. It was either 96 or 97. Right, there we go. Who's the guy here? This is Ronnie Coleman. A comparison, back double biceps next to Phil Heath. These pictures are doctored, admittedly, all kind of filters, all kind of contrast. However, it's not exaggerated. Now, let's try to depict this picture basically point by point. When it comes to the mass development, Ronnie Coleman smokes everybody. He's the heaviest Miss Olympia we've ever had. Bigger even than Dorian Yates, so of course the smaller Phil Heath stands no chance. Phil Heath is around 245 stage weight, but let's try to pick them part by part. As I mentioned, the glutes of Ronnie Coleman are the best ever, although that of Phil Heath nowadays are the best. If we compare him to the days of Ronnie Coleman, he's not on the same level. Ronnie is just on his own realm, and then they're mere human beings, right? The conditioning, though, of the hammies, very comparable. Very comparable. You might argue that of Phil Heath are probably better. The arms of Phil Heath are amazing nowadays. The triceps is only comparable to that of Rolly Winkler Boom Under, so you cannot ding him for that. What he has better than Ronnie, as I mentioned, is his calves. They're definitely one of the best nowadays, and also the symmetry. He beats him in the symmetry department. He has no discrepancies, baby please. He has some sort of what I call a central valley in the center, and it is very, very symmetrical, right? We see here Dorian Yates versus Nasser El Somebody. Nasser, may he rest in peace, used to call Dorian Yates Mr. Backzilla. You know, there's Quadzilla, but there's also Abzilla. And Dorian was Backzilla. He was killing people from the back. But his arms, not loyal at all. Comparison between the Yates and Phil Heath, right? The back, if we stick just to the back of Dorian in my book is the best in the world, right? And the second one is that of Ronnie. If we stick just to the back as a muscle group, it goes lower. I think it is better than that of Phil Heath. There is no doubt about it. Proceed, shall we? Another comparison between current Mr. Olympia and Mr. Olympia of old Ronnie Coleman. And again, the calves of Phil Heath are superior in my opinion, and the symmetry of his back is that much superior compared to the cop of Texas, Mr. Ronnie Coleman. This is the most current picture of Phil Heath, right? 2016 compared to last year or the year before, 2015. This was what I was talking about, the Central Valley. Literally ridge. You can see Sacramento here, right? Definitely, it's up to you. Either Central Valley or Grand Canyon, I don't know. It got more developed. Those two balls here. I mean, the strength of Phil Heath. We all talk about that 3D effect, but this picture definitely depicts it in a rather fidel or rather proper way, right? This is not a mandatory pose. We cannot call it a back double biceps, but it shows us what's up. This is rather 2011, which was supposedly a milestone year for him compared to last year, 2016. I think he bettered that shape tremendously so. And these are the official pictures of Mr. Olympia last year, or was it? No, don't take my word for it. I think it is definitely an older year, probably 2013. Same year as well. You'll notice he has the same trunks. I think those are his lucky trunks that he wears at the finals. Anyway, we'll see what's up. So this is pretty much the complete back of the current era. There is no doubt about it. He dominates and he wins with this lights out kind of side of his. The back is untouchable in both poses, namely the back double biceps and also the back lat spread, right? And that's why I give him this. This was the comparison between 2010 right here, definitely softer, and to the left is 2011. To be noted, the back as a whole of Phil Heath was his weakness when he started his professional venture or venue. Again, the famous year 2012 versus Kai Green. I prefer the peak of Kai Green. There is no doubt about it. Yeah, some people might argue that his calves are even better. I can agree to that. But the fact that he has no traps, you cannot dismiss that. They're just obvious, and in comparison to the gentleman next to him, it just shows. And for that, it is a big ding that he receives. This is the back we're talking about, the famous Central Valley. But let's dismiss the other poses. We're only talking about the back double biceps. This is the latest pose actually of Phil Heath, 2016. In the center we have Flexotron Sean Roden. To the right, Mr. Dexter the Blade Jackson. Dexter is amazing, but in this picture in particular, he cannot hide the absence, so to speak, of this calf. This calf is just not there. Same goes with the other one. They're just too high or just melted. They're not well developed, and the pose is complete. It's from head to toe, and for that he will be dinged. And of course, he's lacking the mass of Phil Heath, Mr. Olympia. So Phil Heath wins this by a long shot. And even you newbies looking at this comparison, as I read your comments on social media, you say it's just no contest. That's why, in my opinion, the best back double biceps of history is that of Phil Heath, top 5 position. That's what's up. I salute you wherever you are. Don't forget to like the video and tell me what you guys think about it.